Alright, ratios. Alright, for this first one here, we want to write the number of shaded and unshaded pairs in each shape. So on the first one, we have 3 shaded. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unshaded. Next shape, we've got 3, 4, 5 shaded. And 1, 2, 3, 4 unshaded. Nice and easy. Right, next. Ratios are used to show the relationship between 2 or more related quantities. Here's some examples. So in a recipe, the ratio of flour to sugar is 1:3. When you see that column in the middle, you say is to. So on a map, 1 centimeter on a map is equivalent to 1 kilometer. So 1 centimeter is to 1 kilometer. When analysing a sporting team's success, the team's win to lose ratio is 10:8. So when writing ratios, the order does matter. So for example here, the number of boys to girls in the class is 12:4. So you see the first number is 12, which represents the boys in the class, and the second number, the 14, represents the number of girls in the class. Alright, let's have a look here. Let's look at that first shape that we did in our warm-up. We want to write the ratio of shaded parts to unshaded parts. So let's have a quick look here. Our shaded parts are 1, 2, 3. So 3 is 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 is to 7, shaded versus unshaded. Next part, the ratio of shaded parts to total parts. Now we know from that question before we have 3 shaded parts, and in total, if you add these up, we have 10 parts in total. Now lastly, the ratio of unshaded parts to total parts. Unshaded parts is 7, and the total parts is 10. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. We've got red and blue pens here. So the ratio of blue pens to red pens, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blue pens is to 4 red pens. Now next, the ratio of red pens to the total number of pens. Our red pens is 4 and our total number of pens is 13. And lastly, we have the number of blue pens to the total number of pens. The number of blue pens is 9 and our total number of pens is 13. So, first question here, the ratio of potatoes to carrots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 potatoes. I'm just going to write that number down there so I don't forget it. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 carrots. So ratio of potatoes to carrots, I've got 7 potatoes to 12 carrots. Next up, we've got potatoes to vegetables. I've got 7 potatoes to 19 vegetables all up. And lastly, carrots to vegetables. I've got 12 carrots out of 19 vegetables. Right, so we've got this sample of mixed nuts. It has 5 cashews and 12 peanuts. Ratio of cashews to peanuts. 5 cashews is to 12 peanuts. So the total number of nuts there is going to be 17 if we add up our 5 and our 12. Now the ratio of cashews to the total number of nuts, we've got 5 cashews out of a total of 17 nuts. Alright, next up, should be getting pretty good at these by now. The box contains 5 green and 7 red marbles. So the ratio of green marbles, 5, is to 7 red marbles. What's the total number of marbles? So the total number of marbles there is 12. Write the ratio of green marbles to the total number of marbles. So it'll be 5 is to 12 in total. A box of 40 flavoured Icy Poles. There were 13 green, 9 lemonade, 11 raspberry, and 7 orange Icy Poles. Right, so we want the ratio of green Icy Poles. So green 13 is to how many orange? 7. 7 orange Icy Poles. Now we want the ratio of raspberry Icy Poles, which we have 11, to lemonade, 9. 11 is to 9. So the 4 different flavours of Icy Pole, green, lemonade, raspberry and orange, we want a ratio of those ones. So I'm going to write it underneath it to make it easy. So we got 13 green is to 9 lemonade is to 11 raspberry, which is to 7 orange. And lastly, I want green and orange Icy Poles to raspberry and lemonade Icy Poles. So green and orange is 13 and 7 is to, what do we want? We want raspberry and lemonade. Raspberry is 11 and lemonade is 9. So 13 plus 7 is 20 is to 11 plus 9, also 20. 20 is to 20. So green and orange Icy Poles exactly match the raspberry and lemonade Icy Poles. Alright, so over the past fortnight it rained 8 days and it snowed on 3 days. Determine the ratio of rainy to snowy days. So rainy days was 8 is to snowed on 3 days, 3. Snowy days to total days. So a fortnight is going to contain 14 days. And it snowed 3 out of those 14 days. Alright, fine days to rainy and snowy days. So fine days, if you add up what's left, is 3 is to rainy and snowy days, which is 11. Rainy days to non-rainy days. So let's have a look here. Our rainy days is 8, and out of the fortnight we've got 14 days. If we take away 8, that gives us 6 days that aren't rainy. Okay, let's have a look at simplifying ratios now. So let's say we've got the ratio 3 is to 12. That's fine as it is, but we can break those numbers down into a simpler form, just like we do with fractions. So we can divide both sides by the highest common factor, which in this case is 3. So if we divide each side by 3, just like dividing the top and the bottom in a fraction, we get 1 is to 4, which is the simplest that ratio can be broken down into. So let's have a quick go at these ones. We've got 4 is to 6 and 12 is to 20. So let's have a look at this first one here. Looks like the highest common factor is 2. So I'm going to divide both by 2. And I get 2 is to 3. Next one, 12 and 20. Looks like the highest common factor there is 4. So I'm going to divide the left and the right by 4 to get 3 is to 5. So pause here, have a go at doing these ones by yourselves. Remember, find the highest common factor, divide both sides by that factor. So just have a look over those answers, make sure you got those ones. The last one you may have had to use a calculator for if you don't know your 16s times tables, which I don't off the top of my head, so that's fine. Alright, let's have a look at these ones, a bit more real life examples. So express each of the ratios in simplified form. The mass of the larger can to the mass of the smaller can. So first up, write your ratio. 440 is to 200. Okay, highest common factor here is 40. So I'm going to divide both by 40. That may not be apparent straight away. It definitely wasn't to me when I was in grade 7. But there's no problem with taking a bit of longer time to find that highest common factor, even if you need to do out your factor trees, that's fine. So 11 is to 5. Next up, we have the length of the triangle to the height of the triangle. So length is 20 and the height is 16. Now it looks to me like the highest common factor there is 4. So let's divide the left and the right by 4 to get 5 is to 4. The length to the height. And last up, these two, we got a dinosaur and an elephant. The height of the dinosaur to the height of the elephant. So height of dinosaur, 540, to the height of the elephant, 300. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to knock that 1 0 off each side to get 54 is to 30. Makes it a bit easier to look at now. Now I can see the highest common factor is 6. Let's divide by 6 to get 9 is to 5. Right, pause here, have a go at these questions, then push play when you're ready to see the answers and check your work. Right, there's the answers to the top bit. Next one down, an unopened box of Mega Fiber breakfast cereal contains 1.3 kilograms of cereal. Another box that has been opened and used contains 450 grams. What is the ratio of the contents of the open box to the contents of the unopened box? Write your answer in simplest form. Okay, this one's a bit of a challenge type question because you've got something that's in grams and another thing that's in kilograms. It'd be good if you could put them both into grams so we can do a correct analysis of both of them. So we've got 45 is to 130. Let's find the highest common factor. So the highest common factor here is 5 after we knock off those zeros. 1 0 off each side. So that will give us 45 divided by 5 is 9. 130 divided by 5 is 26. Okay, equivalent fractions. Same thing to the top and to the bottom. What did we do to the 2 to turn it into a 4? We times it by 2. So we have to do the same thing to the top. 1 times 2 is 2. What did we do to 3 to turn it into 6? We times it by 2. Same thing to the bottom. And this one, what we do to 3 to turn it into a 90? We times it by 3. Need to do the same thing to the 25, which is on top, to get 75 on 90. Okay, this next section here, I'd like you to copy down into your books with the title Equivalent Ratios, and then the example. So equivalent ratios are ratios that represent the same portion. So we got down here the example ratios of boys to girls in the class can be written as 1:2 or 2:4. Those are equivalent ratios. So we always have double the amount of girls if we follow that ratio. So let's look here. Equivalent ratios can be produced by multiplying or dividing both sides of the ratio by the same number, exactly like we did with fractions. So write a pair of equivalent ratios for the following. 4:6. So we want 8:2 a number. So what do we do to 4 to turn it to 8? We times it by 2. Must do the same thing to the 6 to get our 12. Same thing over here with B. What do we do to 5 to turn it into 1? We divided it by 5. Must do the same thing to the 15 to get our 3. Right, pause here, have a go at doing this one for yourselves. Alright, let's have a look here. We've got 2, turn it into a 4. So we times that by 2. Same thing with the 3 to make 6. 12 became 4 by dividing it by 3. Let's do the same thing to the 15 to get our 5. Okay, pause here, have a go at these ones, and when you're ready, push play and check your answers. Okay, have a look at your answers, making sure that you didn't make any simple errors along the way.